Hi guys, I'm back with another video today. I just got back from Canada and I had promised you guys a video talking about my 16 personalities test, what I scored, and talking a little bit about how that personality is the most accurate thing I have read in my life about me. And basically, I wanted to share with you how it's affected my life, good and bad, and also how it's affected my career as a designer and how it made me in many ways go into design and not just be a designer but be a very thoughtful designer. So I had asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted a video talking about this, and you all said yes. I was really surprised because I thought everyone would say no, because I really sometimes think that, you know, when you're posting videos about your work or, you know, something that's not directly you, I always assume that people are not going to care about me or my life or anything. So I was actually surprised that people wanted to see this. But a lot of you also said that you scored the same thing that I did, and I was wondering, like, maybe that's why you find my work interesting or me interesting, or whatever the reason is that you follow my journey. So anyway, I thought it'd be really fun. So I have it pulled up here. Again, I just got back from Canada like 3-4 days ago. I've been super jet lagged and trying to just get back into the thick of things, but I did promise that I would release this video on the 6th. So I'm filming now to make sure that I do it, because I mean, that's probably also part of my personality thing that I'm going to be reading. I really have to like plan to stick to my goals in order to do them. Otherwise I get in loops and they just fade into nothingness. So anyway, I wanted to talk a bit about it. So okay, let's get into it right away. I don't want to waste any time, but so my result that I got, I mean, okay, I should probably explain from the beginning, like 16 personalities. I'm sure most of you have done this. But I did this test like maybe 6 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And then I retook it to see if it was the same thing, and I actually scored the same thing. So my result as a personality type was the mediator, which is INFP-T. I don't know how to say that. First thing that struck me is the photo is hilarious, because this is already me. This is literally me. This is how I see life. This is me floating in a forest as like a forest fairy creature or whatever. This is exactly how I want life to be all the time since I was a kid. So as soon as I saw the photo, I was like, yep, that's me, like the mediator. And the first thing that struck me was I am always, no matter what, trying to make peace with everything. I'm trying to make sure I don't step on people's toes, make sure I don't put people in a bad mood. Since I was a kid, I was just so incredibly aware of people's energy and trying to mediate situations. I felt from a small child that it was my responsibility for people to be happy, in a good place, and kind of to be like a therapist type of role model in a way. Like, I always felt that people's problems were my responsibility to solve. I remember just being so incredibly sensitive, you guys, that every single thing that someone did, or a look that they gave, or a tone, or whatever, I was like walking on eggshells, like whether it was a toxic person or not. There's a reason also why, like, I can't watch movies. Like, I literally can't watch movies unless they are super blah and positive and no like deeper thought to them, because I absorb even freaking fake like movie story, like characters' problems. So for example, if I watch a movie and like someone's dad dies in the movie or something, or their friend dies, my body completely interprets it as if that was my loss. I cannot distinguish that that didn't happen to me because I'm seeing it and I'm absorbing it. And I always used to wonder when I was a kid, like, how do people become doctors, nurses, like any kind of like healers in any way? Because I would absorb everyone's problems. And I feel it in my body, and I know that those get trapped somewhere. I just know that. So even from when I was a kid, like I started getting, I guess like chronic illnesses that developed since I was really young, and I'm still dealing with them today. And I honestly still think that a lot of those were brought on and onset because of how much I absorb from other people. When your body is always aware of the energy around you and you are constantly picking up on other people, you don't have space for yourself. Your brain doesn't even have space to think for itself or to care about yourself or put yourself first. So I have been working on that my entire life. I can say that I'm in a way better place now, even than just like a year ago, because I've become more aware of this. And I've also become more aware that I need to put myself first, and I need to find a way to release that energy back to the earth, basically, so that it's not in my own system, because it doesn't belong to me, right? So anyway, a little tangent there, but I just wanted to like read a little bit about what the website says about mediator personalities. So, okay, it says mediator is a personality type with the introverted, intuitive feeling and prospecting traits. These rare personality types tend to be quiet, open-minded, and imaginative, and they apply a caring and creative approach to everything that they do. 100%, this is really resonates with me. I've always been a little bit of a shy, I guess, introverted person. Like, it's weird. Some people that meet me say I'm extremely extroverted. I think if you really get to know me, I will show that side. But I tend to be very in my thoughts, and I tend to also be very open-minded for sure. I can always see people's perspective, and I can always put myself in their place or in their shoes in order to mediate the situation. So I tend not to get in fights often. Since I was a kid, again, I was always like, no, but I can see your point. I can totally see your point, because if I was you, I would feel the same. But I'm not you, so I feel this way, but let's try and meet in the middle. So I've always been really open-minded to that kind of stuff, like, you know, whether it comes to food, clothes, religion, ways of thinking, like anything like that. I'm rarely quick to judge people, because I always give people the benefit of the doubt, and that has been, you know, in good and bad, obviously. So definitely open-minded, definitely imaginative. I mean, that's why I do the job that I do, for sure. So it says, okay, although they may seem quiet or unassuming, people with the INFP personality type, mediators, have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Creative and imaginative, they happily lose themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their mind. They are also known for their sensitivity. These personalities can have profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and the people around them. They are known to be extremely sentimental and nostalgic, often holding on to special keepsakes and memorabilia that brighten their days and fill their heart with joy. This is a very, very strong reason why I became a designer. Obviously, I did not know this at the time, but my personality, again, since I was a child, I would cry to everything, to music. It would move me in a certain way. A flower that I would see on the street, TV that I would watch, the cartoons. Guys, I always say this when people ask me, like, when did you start thinking of design? And I say it's when I was a kid, because even the cartoons I watched on TV had to be thoughtful. They couldn't just be like loud noises, car crashes, lots of action going on. They had to be very, very reclused into just a few things going on. Very simple storyline, very clean, minimal, simple aesthetics, the use of just a few colors, and a beautiful soundtrack. That's all I cared about. It's still the reason why, you know, some of my favorite movies, they're never about like a crazy in-depth storyline. They're actually just really simple, easy to watch. And that's also how I view design. It's the same thing, you know, the use of just a few materials, but very, very thoughtful and purposeful. So yeah, I've always been obsessed with music. I started listening to like super, super basic like classical music since I was a kid, and that's like the only thing I would listen to. Like I was probably judgmental there when I was a kid. I was like, people that don't listen to classical music, like what is going on? I could name every composer, I could name every song ever. It didn't matter who it was. But I know so many people can resonate with this. But guys, I kept saying every day, I'm gonna be a musician. I have to be a musician. The only thing I like in the world is music. And I didn't notice that that was more my calling until I got older, and I realized, okay, when people listen to anything, they're not like always crying. They're not feeling every single beat of the song, whether it be bass or melody or anything. And same thing with, yeah, it says like art, nature, same thing. Like, of course, that invigorates so many people. And I just always felt such a deep connection, like a lot of us do. But things made me very sensitive and very emotional all the time. So I am definitely a very sentimental person, very nostalgic. I've been training myself again my whole life to not be as nostalgic, because you know that quote that says, nostalgia is the biggest liar? I definitely have been, training myself to kind of get out of those thoughts that are stuck in the past in order for me to be present, because it's super hard for me to be present. And again, I have been working on it my entire life. Mediators, if you know, you know. It is so hard to just be able to move forward and not get stuck in, remember how beautiful it was that day when we were just sitting on that balcony drinking a coffee and whatever. A really good example is when I studied in Florence. I did my degree there. I had beyond amazing experiences that I would wish on everyone in the world. It was unbelievable what a beautiful experience I had, and the people that I met, and the teachers that I had, and the ways that my friends and I would meet every second of every day. If anyone here is watching and went to my school in Florence, you know what I'm talking about. It was just magical. And because I studied there for 3 years, when I left, I was a disaster. I honestly couldn't pick myself up again. And I used to cry like to my boyfriend or to just all my friends all the time about it. And I said, I can't move forward because those were such good times, and I know that I can never recreate them again. So instead of just moving forward, I was stuck. And that's probably an example that is maybe a bit bigger because it was 3 years long. It's not like I was stuck in one day or one small period. But it took me until a couple years ago to start thinking, okay, you have to start living now and create more memories like that, because in a couple years from now, you're going to look back at the time you're in now and you're going to think, I wish I was there again. So why not just be there now, you know? So I think there's a quote from The Office, Andy, when he says, I wish there was a way to know that you're in the good times when you're in the good times. that's definitely how I try and look at life every day now. So I think the nostalgia thing has definitely been a big part of my life. And like, yeah, if you have that, if you had those experiences and like you were able to move on from those and changed your outlook on life, and now you feel more present, like I really want to know your situation and how you overcame that. Because I, again, have been working on being present my entire life, and slowly but surely I have been getting there more so like in the last 6 months than I have in my entire life. So I feel really grateful about that, and I feel so much more more present and grateful in everyday small things, like waking up and having water in the morning, just being able to stand up out of bed and have legs that work and have arms that work and have a sharp mind, and waking up to the person that you love, or like my cat, you know, like hugging Kit in the morning. I just look at her and I'm like, I'm the luckiest person in the world to have you as a cat, or to have a cat in general. Like how have we domesticated cats? Like there's so many things that we don't realize that we have in life. And I think that's been a huge journey for me, like I said, just the last year or two, where I have been practicing gratitude so much more, and it has helped me so much. So anyway, moving forward, I tend to also talk a lot. I don't know if that's part of this, but once I get going, I get going. So idealistic and empathetic people with the INFP personality type long for deep, soulful relationships, and they feel called to help others. Due to the fast-paced and competitive nature of our society, they may sometimes feel lonely or invisible, adrift in a world that doesn't seem to appreciate the traits that make them unique. Yet it is precisely because of their brim with such rich sensitivity and profound creativity that they possess the unique potential to connect deeply and initiate positive change. So I have always been really obsessed with having good quality people in my life. And what I saw as good quality when I was a bit younger compared to now is very different. But I have always really valued loyalty and friendship, and an ability to connect with like-minded people wasn't the biggest thing for me. Like, it wasn't like, okay, I need to have friends that think exactly like I do. But I have always craved, like these deep soul connections, I guess, of people that have an appreciation for the deeper meaning of life and beauty around us. And again, you know, Vincent and I always talk about when we travel together, we don't need to go see every single important building or important museum or plan everything around. We just like to walk around and be with the people that are in that country, in that city, and really feel what they're feeling. Like, feel how it feels to live there, or go sit in a cafe and people watch. And I think those kind of soulful connections, those deeper experiences of learning about people, learning about their history, where they come from, what they've learned in their lives, is very important. And I think that's a really big thing in older people as well. I grew up in a really, I don't know if crazy household is the right word, but it was definitely very deep. Like, there was a lot of stuff always going on, and it definitely taught me a lot about connections with other people. And when you are growing up in a like a household that's full of drama and sickness, like, for example, my dad became paralyzed when I was 6 years old, and I kind of like had to take care of him, basically, because my mom was super busy and was just starting her business, and you know, it was a lot. It was a lot. I won't get into specifics now, but I kind of grew up always waiting every day for something really bad to happen because I was at the hospital every day. My dad was super sick every single day and still is. Luckily, he's still with us, but I had to experience a lot of things that a normal, well, I don't know about a normal child, but you know, my friends among me were not like at the hospital every night until 5 a.m. and then I would get to school the next day and my teachers would yell at me because I didn't do my homework, but I didn't want to tell them I was at the hospital all night because I was too shy and embarrassed. So basically what I mean is I grew up as an adult. I felt that I didn't have like a big childhood experience, let's say. So because of that, and seeing so much death, and when I say death, I mean death of innocence from a young age, you have to grow up really quickly and you have to learn how to fend for yourself, fend for your family, and develop close connections with people that are meaningful. And I felt that from a child. Like when I was 5 years old, it was really hard for me to be friends with superficial or more materialistic people because I was just thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going through so much at home and I have no one to relate to. So I have to kind of like cherry pick my friendships and relationships so that they also understand what I am going through so that we can connect on a deeper level. And I have never been so grateful in my life to have gone through those experiences because they brought me to exactly who I am today. And I think that that has put so much into everything in my life. Just like adult decisions, like, you know, I started working from a super young age. A lot of people did in North America, that's the norm. But when I moved to Europe, most of my friends had never had a job. And I was just, at the beginning, I was angry. I was like, I have been working for 10 years and I'm only like 19. And all my friends were like excited to get a job and start working and all this stuff. And I was thinking, I have been working for 10 years. I'm exhausted. I don't want to work for a company right now. I need to start my own company. Like I need to get ahead of the game. I need to do something that makes me fuel me and make me proud of who I am and work towards something bigger than myself every day. The deep, meaningful, soulful relationships are a huge part of what I do and why I do things. Another example is because I'm a designer, I will not just take any client. That's one thing that I will never, ever, ever do. It's not about money for me. I could not care less about money when it comes down to my authenticity. So I will always, always wait out, strive for a client that I feel their vision resonates with me and it's something that I know it's gonna fuel me. And I know that I get excited when I hear about their vision and the fact that they're finally, you know, people are putting so much money and time and effort into bringing their dream spaces or businesses or homes or whatever to life. And for me, it's such an honor to get to be in that little dream bubble with them. So I take that part of my job so seriously. And oh my goodness, if I told you how many clients I've passed on and my friends are going, why would you not take this? Like, take money, like just take anything you can get, you need money. And I'm like, I can't do it because if I don't come from authenticity all the time, I will crash completely and I will leave design. I know myself. Anytime I have taken things out of fear is always when I majorly regret because I end up in a huge situation that could have been avoided. I always try and listen to my intuition and it always works all the time. You know, when you have like two things placed in front of you and they're huge decisions, and one of them is super tempting, but the other one just feels right. You don't know what it is. Something's calling you to that in whatever regard, but the other one is holding like the carrot in front of you, and it seems so good, but it's incredibly terrifying. And not because it's challenging, not that kind of scare, not that kind of fear, because that's the good fear. It's scary because you know it's not you, like you know it's not authentic. I remember when I was a kid, and okay, I'm gonna get into some of my experiences now, so I hope this isn't like too boring for you guys, but I'm just going all in. I didn't plan anything, by the way. I'm just like gonna raw dog this whole thing because I want to be as authentic as I can. Like, this is also part of me. Like, I can't just write scripts and stuff because I can't. It's not coming from my soul if I do that. I remember when I was a kid, and okay, I had saved up a lot of money. It was $7 to buy the Nelly Furtado CD because I was obsessed with her, and I think it was the first CD I was actually gonna purchase. So I had like been doing so many chores, and like I never had an allowance when I was a kid, but I think I begged my parents. I was like, I will clean when you come home from work every day. I will have this house completely spotless, and I will like cook. Like, I was just going crazy for the CD. And then I said, like, can you please then give me the, I think it was like 750 Canadian dollars at the time, maybe $10 actually. And so I said, I'll do anything just if you give me money to buy the Nelly Furtado CD. And it was her CD with like Man Eater, Promiscuous, I don't know if Say It Right and those were on that one or if it was one after, but anyway. So I went to the store and I had my money, and it was such a exciting day for me. I could not believe that I had finally earned this money to buy this CD. And when I get to the store, I look in the aisle and I see this binder, like, you know, a binder that you place all of your school homework and papers. And it was a binder that everyone in my class had at the time. I think it was called Zwipes or something. And it was this binder. Let me know if you guys had this. But it was a binder that had a marker on it, and you could draw on the front of the binder and erase it, like almost like a whiteboard. And everyone in my class had one. And I wanted one, but more so because everyone had one. So I felt like left out, basically. I was probably like 12 at this point, 11, I think 12. So anyway, I saw this binder and I saw the Nelly Furtado CD right next to it. And I was like, shoot, they're both $10. What do I do? And I looked at the Nelly Furtado CD and my heart was like aching because I knew this is what I wanted. For that whole year I was thinking about it. And then I looked over and I saw the binder and I thought, okay, but people will probably be nicer to me, or, you know, I'll have more commonalities with people, so maybe I'll make more friends. And I bought the binder. And as soon as I did that, within seconds, I knew that I went against myself completely. Like, I felt it. I was like, why are you doing this? Like, this isn't you. But of course, when you're that age, you can't put that kind of stuff into words. So I bought it and I immediately felt that I betrayed myself because I wasn't being authentic because I bought it for the wrong reasons. Now, this is a situation when I was 12 years old. This is nothing. This is such a small thing. But the fact that I still remember it is because it was a moment that I went against myself, my authenticity. And every time I have gone against my authenticity in way, way greater situations than that in my life, I have just kicked myself about it. So authenticity is super important for me, like so important for me. Since I started posting on social media, that has been a really big hill for me to climb, because I always thought that short form videos and all this, you know, algorithm stuff and how to post for the algorithm, how to post for people to get connected with you is not me. And that also, in one sense, makes me sad, even though it has given me such greatness and such opportunity in my life that I'm happy for today, but it took me so long to get here. And one of those things is the authenticity for me. I was thinking, okay, I just want to be a designer and share like work that I care so deeply about, and you know, projects that I work on for 2, 3, 4 years, and then I just want to be able to share them with the world through my portfolio or through some videos in some way. But it just never felt authentic to post like a 30-second video on a project that took 4 years, you know? So I have been always trying to find my place in that realm of social media, of people, like like it says here, like in everyday, where was the thing here? I'm trying to find that exact sentence. But anyway, something about everyday society. I'm just trying to see here. Due to the fast-paced and competitive nature of our society, they may sometimes feel lonely or invisible. That's my entire life for sure, like for sure. So anyway, okay, anyway, I'm gonna move forward. So the gift of empathy, it says, our personalities share a sincere curiosity about the depths of human nature, introspective to the core. They're exquisitely attuned to their own thoughts and feelings, but they yearn to understand the people around them as well, like I kind of just described. We are passionate and non-judgmental, always willing to hear another person's story. When someone opens up to them or turns to them for comfort, they feel honored to listen and to be of help. Absolutely. I hope my friends know this, but I feel like if you ask any of my friends, like when we're having a conversation and they have a problem, I shut off and I'm all theirs. I shut everything about me off. I'm never waiting for my opportunity to talk. I just want to help them in every way that I can, and I want to give myself to everyone all the time. And I think, like I said, it's great if you're in my life, but I find myself constantly on an empty tank of gas, basically, because I'm constantly trying to help people and heal people and give everything about myself. Like, there's nothing more beautiful in the world to me than connecting on the deepest, most emotional level with someone that you love and them feeling amazing after. They come to you with a problem and you go, you know what? I hear everything that you're saying. I support you in every way. This is exactly what we should do to help you get out of this place. And it's taken me, again, years to realize that I cannot be everybody's therapist. So, you know, I give so much of myself and then I end up not giving anything to myself. So that's something for sure. Yeah, so empathy is among the strongest of the personality type's greatest gifts, but at times it can be a liability. The troubles of the world weigh heavily on their shoulders, and these personalities can be vulnerable to internalizing other people's negative moods or mindsets. Unless they learn to set boundaries, they may feel overwhelmed by just how many wrongs there are that need to be set right. This is kind of like what I was saying at the beginning, how because I am so empathetic and sensitive, I absorb everyone's energy all the time. Like, you guys, when I say all the time, I mean it is debilitating. Like, I know there's a lot of trends out there on TikTok, for example, that say like, I'm an empath, blah, 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 so I feel everything or whatever. But it has honestly like destroyed my life in so many ways that I'm still trying to recover from and still trying to work through. I have attracted so many toxic people in my life that I have had to, well, like, I guess first I got completely pushed down by these people, whether it was relationships, friendships, jobs, bosses that I've had really, really bad work experiences because I pour myself out to people, and I was always so vulnerable that I was basically like anyone's puppet. Like anyone could just take me and move me around exactly how they want, exactly how they please, and I wasn't gonna say a word. I would just absorb it, like all of it. So I just recently started learning more about boundaries and how to have boundaries in place for my feelings. Like I said, from when I was a kid, I would always just do everything for everyone. I didn't let myself have my own personality even. I bet you if you asked me when I was a kid what my favorite color was, I would have no idea. I'd have no response because I'd be like, whatever your favorite color is today, you know? I've attracted a lot of narcissistic people for sure. And I've had to dig myself up from really sticky situations because of how much I allowed into my life that I'm only now realizing, like years and years later. So it's also made me able to cut really, really dark, negative people out of my life. And it has created such relief for me that I wish I could give to everyone that attracts people like this all the time, or attracts that kind of, I guess, like negativity or toxicity that in people that are users, I guess. And yeah, that's what I want to say about that section. So that was the gift of empathy. So now, speaking their truth. It says, few things make our personalities more uneasy than pretending to be someone they aren't. With their sensitivity and their commitment to authenticity, people with this personality type tend to crave opportunities for creative self-expression. It comes as no surprise then that many famous INFPs are poets, writers, actors, and artists. They can't help but muse about the meaning and purpose of life, dreaming up all sorts of stories, ideas, and possibilities along the way. Guys, there's like a spider right here. Oh my god, it just flew in my face. I'm not gonna kill it because I can't. I will cry. Okay, I put him on the wall. Okay. I'm trying to see if you can see him. He's there. Okay. Okay, that's very true. Like I said, I was explaining before, I can't do anything that's not authentic to me. Like I cannot. I will end up quitting everything. I've said that since day one, like, Kid, what are you doing? Kid is doing something. I'm always worried that she's like trying to jump out the window or something. Okay. Through these imaginative landscapes, these soulful personalities can explore their own inner nature as well as their place in the world. While this is a beautiful trait, they sometimes show a tendency to daydream and fantasize rather than take action. At times, these personalities may intensely deliberate themselves in their heads, wrestling with their options until the last possible moment. To avoid feeling frustrated, unfulfilled, or incapable, they need to make sure that they take decisive steps to turn their dreams and ideas into reality. This is super accurate because I have always been the most last-minute person I have ever known in my life. Whether it came to studying for an exam, writing an essay, anytime we had like 3 months to do something, I was doing everything the night before, and I would stress myself so much that I would just pull all-nighters. It was all or nothing for me. I couldn't just go to the gym to exercise. I had to go 4 times a day out of nowhere and make sure I do that every single day for 6 months. And if I don't, I'm a failure and I'm done and I'm worthless. I hated myself forever. I was worthless. I know people do this all the time. Like, we are so unbelievably self-critical. But I've always just had this all or nothing personality. Like, I could never work slowly and at ease towards something that I really liked, like a goal that I wanted to achieve. It was always all or nothing. And you can probably see that in a lot of the stuff that I do. Like, I'll be like super consistent on social media, and then all of a sudden I just disappear. And I've had to have so many conversations, hard conversations basically with myself, to realize that I can't do that if I want to move forward in anything in my life, in my career, in my friendships. Even with my friends, sometimes I will like not respond to a message for months, and they're like, what is going on with you? What happened? And I just get so much into my own feels, and I get super like reclusive. And like, I'm starting to realize lately that you can't do that and then just come out and think you're going to survive in the same way. I think it's the same thing also in relationships. I also heard some kind of quote that was, when you're finding a partner, it's kind of like looking for, there's the fireworks and then there's the fireplace. And the fireworks are huge, they're super quick, they're amazing all at once. They're just this huge wow moment. You're so excited, you go all in. And then there's the fireplace that takes a while to heat up, but once it's done, once it's heated, you stay warmer for a long time. And in my past, all my, again, friendships, relationships, everything were the fireworks. Everything was just boom, 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 and then you're done. You are left exhausted, drained, manipulated, used, all these things. And it took me, well, I'm 29 now. I want to say it took me 29 years to realize that, actually, maybe let's say like 25 years, something like that, to realize that the fireplace is where it's at. And in my relationship now with Vince, it's so much of a fireplace. And at the beginning, I was so used to these crazy fireworks of, you know, that you usually see in people that aren't planning on staying around for a long time. And you get trapped and sucked into, again, like people that are users or manipulators, or maybe just people that are not who they say they are. And when I met Vince, something just felt right in my stomach. It felt so healthy and so beautifully gardened. Like when you're planting seeds and you take care every day of that plant, you go back, you put a little bit of water, you measure to see like if the soil is right, you feel the soil to see if it needs more water or nutrients, and then you watch it grow slowly each day. It doesn't happen overnight. So I think that is something, like, I use the metaphor now, but I have been going through that in my everyday life, where I think it's actually a matter of like self-respect a lot, and gaining that, gaining that kind of self-respect and self-love, that you know that you are worth to succeed. You are worth to set yourself up for success, whether that's me planning to do something every day, something small, like, okay, I'm gonna go for a walk every single morning for half an hour. And then I go by 5 days and I'm like, I don't really want to go today. And I think, but you've been feeling so good doing this. You're getting some time for yourself. You're listening to the podcast you wanted to listen to. You're getting so much sun in the morning, which is fueling you with nutrients so that you can focus and be healthy in the day. And why stop now? Just because you don't really feel like it, just push yourself the extra mile. So that's been a big thing for me too, is consistency. And I really plan on going all in, because for me now it is getting to the point where I see it more as like self-respect rather than just superficial things like posting on social media every day. That gets me in a place that I want to be, rather than, oh no, I have to do this today, you know? So Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next. So, in search of a calling. People with this personality type tend to feel directionless or stuck until they connect with a sense of purpose in their life. For many, this has to do with uplifting others, and while they want to help anyone and everyone, their personalities need to focus their energy and efforts. Otherwise, they can end up exhausted. That's why I said about like draining all my energy to other people and stuff. Then it's funny, it shows mediators that you may know. William Shakespeare, Bjork, Alicia Keys, Julia Roberts, Johnny Depp, William Wordsworth, Frodo from Lord of the Rings, Emily, I actually didn't see that movie. I don't know any of the last slide that they just showed. Anne of Green Gables, okay. Also have no idea. Arwen from Lord of the Rings, okay, great, thank you. So, strengths and weaknesses. Again, anyone that is a mediator as well, like, let me know if you resonate with this at all. Like, I just would love to know your experience being a mediator in your life. And if you feel that maybe we have similar experiences, or if you're like, hey, I can't resonate with that at all. Like, I need to double check if I am a mediator. Okay, so strengths: empathetic, generous, open-minded, creative, passionate, and idealistic. Weaknesses: unrealistic, self-isolating, unfocused, emotionally vulnerable, too eager to please, and self-critical. Yeah, that's definitely like what I was saying. I'm just trying to see, my traits are 64% introverted. I would say that's very true. Like I said, I'm pretty self-isolated. I would say, like, I do tend to isolate myself, and then out of nowhere I just feel it all at once, where I'm like, I need to see people right now. I need to go out and connect with people and feel something. Intuitive, 73%, meaning that I usually go with my gut feeling more than logic. That's definitely true. I probably tend to not look at logic a lot in many ways. Like, I remember my whole life growing up in Canada, I didn't understand North America in general. Probably because my parents would bring me to Europe from when I was, I think the first time I went, I was about 5 or 6. And my parents were both born in Italy, and they brought me to Europe for the first time. And when I was 5 years old, I said, I'm moving here no matter what. When I'm older, I will move here. And it became this crazy obsession for years. That's all I did, was plan how I'm gonna move to Europe when I turned 18. And it affected my whole life, because there's something about me that never felt that I fit in. I think being a creative and coming from a really small town that, I mean, it's not small. My city, Edmonton, has 1 million people, so it's actually pretty big, but it had very small town energy. And I always explain the city for anyone who hasn't been there, which probably be 99% of you. It's kind of like the Texas of Canada. It's a very redneck city. And I mean, if you want to do anything that has to do with beauty and deeper meaning of beauty and analyzing everything around you that affects you on the daily, such as beautiful architecture, people that you walk by on the street that take care of themselves, that wear beautiful things, not for like materialistic pleasure, but because they feel something. Everything is purposeful. When they pick that shirt up at the store and they look at it, they buy it because it aligns with their thoughts and they want to feel good when they put things on every day. That was really hard for me to grow up in a society that did not emphasize those things. I was obsessed with aesthetics from when I was a kid. Like I said before, I didn't understand that at the time, but I loved beauty in everything, you guys. Like everything, even just like the food that I ate, like everything had to be aesthetic in some way for me to get value from it, because it made me feel something. It just made me feel that there's more to life. Things have purpose. There's a reason why we're here, and there's a reason why things are beautiful. We feel that impulse. It's in us to love beauty. It's in us to build beautiful buildings. It's in us to absorb nature. Nature is beauty. These are all things that I believe on a soul level, like in the universe. These are things that are meant. They're put here to make us feel something greater than ourselves. And I have felt that since I was a child. I would get obsessed with everything around me. And that, to the point, they started affecting me big time. Like I said, I was always sensitive and I always absorbed everyone's everything all the time. You best believe I was absorbing environments 24/7. So I grew up in a super tiny, poor house. We were super poor growing up. And I think I started becoming very aware. Like we did have a lot of nature in our backyard. We had a bigger backyard. We had a really tiny house that was falling apart, but we had this beautiful space in the backyard. And my parents planted so many trees, and I would just go out and lay down in the grass and feel like I was in heaven, basically, from the sun, from the birds chirping, from anything. We all have these experiences, especially when we're kids. You know, we're so attuned to nature, and we're so attuned to beauty, and I think that happens in more so when we're kids than when we're older. Honestly, I think that we have that connection in a different way. When I was a kid, I even wanted to become a flight attendant just because I thought that they were so pretty. Like I was so genuinely obsessed with like the makeup they were wearing, or like the little scarf that they had on their neck, or the lipstick. Like everything just seemed, you know, the posture, the way that they carried themselves, it seemed so aesthetic to me. Sorry, I got off track. Wait, what was I gonna say? Hold on, I'm trying to recenter my mind here. So from when I was a kid, because everything was so aesthetic to me and so meaningful, I started getting involved in stuff like art. I really enjoyed painting. I enjoyed drawing, but I was really bad at it. Like surprisingly, I'm very, very bad at art, like drawing, because I say surprisingly because when you go into interior architecture, you should probably be a little bit good at sketching and such. I was always bad at that. But I had such a fascination with photography and lighting. Lighting is my soul. I am obsessed with lighting, and I think the way that the light hits certain objects in the day makes them more beautiful. And we are so freaking lucky to experience, like I say every day, that I think I have the best job in the world, because my day revolves around absorbing beauty to get inspired to keep working. When I walk outside, I'm so blessed that I look up and I'm like, oh my goodness, the way that they did that, the framing around those windows, and the perspective, like the scale with this building and then this building, and then the colors, and then everything is so beautiful around us. And like I said, I genuinely feel that with this personality type that I was just reading to you guys, I truly think that design is a career that is so meant for me because of what it has done for my brain. And the funny thing is, I've talked to you guys about how I have struggled so much my whole life about being present and being grounded. And that comes from being a people pleaser. And that comes from never thinking for yourself and of yourself and giving yourself to everyone all the time. But being able to go into design has grounded me and made me present in so many ways, because it's like a slap in the face. It's going, hey, when you go for a walk outside, you have to absorb everything around you because you're getting inspired all the time. And that is where I get all my inspiration. I've said a lot in my post that a lot of people ask me, like, who are architects that inspire you? Who are other designers that inspire you? Who are I don't know, like things that you learned in school, teachers that have inspired you, and so and so. And I always say, and I still believe in this, that the things that inspire me the most are not necessarily like physical things that I can put my hand on. It's more so experiences of, I would say walking through the city is the biggest form of experience I can get and inspiration for my next project, because it's the way the sun hits the building. It's the way the tree leaves fall on the ground. It's the shape of things. It's the essence. It's people, like watching people interact with each other. How are they speaking? How are they expressing their feelings in that exact moment? Why are we all here at this exact time? Like, I saw a dog yesterday and I was thinking, why am I alive at the same time as this dog right here? I don't even know this dog, but I was just like absorbing his whole life. Like, he was sitting in front of a pizza shop and he was just like staring at the window, and I was like, why are we here together? Like, I just wonder, what is it? And the more that we ask these questions and get into these kind of topics of beauty around us, I think that will always make for better, more meaningful designs. And the reason I'm talking about design right now in general is just because, like, a lot of you ask me about, is design right for you? Is it a good career choice? And I thought I would kind of like loop it in at the end. This video is getting super long. I'm so sorry. If you guys are still here, wow, please let me know if you're still here after 58 minutes, because thank you for staying. But like, this personality type, this ties into, I think, why I've been able to be a thoughtful designer. And that's kind of what I wanted to say today is, I cannot imagine myself doing any kind of other career. There are so many career paths that I, was thinking of, just because they were all creative actually, but this to me felt the most connected to myself, because, and if you want to be a designer, I don't know if this is going to inspire you in any way, but I get to create buildings from nothing, like something that never existed. Not only do I get to create it, but people then get to walk through it and have their own experience. I remember the first daycare that I designed. There was a man that visited while I was there, and someone went up to, okay, so the man walked in the daycare that I designed, and I was like putting this light up, and he said, wow, this is the most beautiful, what is this, a daycare? I thought it was like a bank or something. He's like, this is the most beautiful daycare I've ever seen. And someone working there says, oh, yeah, Alyssa really wanted this to feel like a spa. And I was thinking, wait, no, I didn't want it to feel like a spa. I mean, that's great if it feels like a spa, but I never said those words probably. But then I was thinking to myself, actually, no, you know what? I would never say, like, I want this to feel like this, because I actually was interested in the experience that this man was getting. He said it felt like a bank, and then I said, you know, like, what feelings do you get? Like, what experience are you getting right now, basically? And he said something about there was an area that kind of reminded him of his grandparents' house in the 70s or something. And he was just going on about this story from his childhood. And I was thinking, this is a moment right here where me and this total stranger, I have no idea, I don't even know his name, we're connecting. We are connecting on his childhood right now, his childhood innocence, the beauty that he saw as a child that he's getting to re-experience now. And it was just, I don't know, it was so emotional for me. I can't explain it. And that is the importance of me not placing these themes or these words or these experiences on what I design. And I always explain this, that good design is concept-based. It's developing a concept, because the concept is the heart of everything. And if you don't have a heart, you don't have anything. And I remember my teachers talking about a concept in school, and I always thought, like, what's a concept though? What is a concept in terms of architecture? And when I was 19, I couldn't grasp it. And I remember as students even, I feel like we didn't quite understand it. Like, for example, you know, I would draw a circle or whatever, and the circle would take shape in every single part of the building. And I was like, my concept is circles. And like, we did this all the time, like as students. So if we were designing pieces of furniture, if we were designing full-on buildings, I feel like at the beginning, the concept was not there. It was not relevant. There was no concept. And now I continuously say, you have to have the soul connection of every single element, material, shape, wall, floor, toilet, window, ceiling, any element in there has to all have a purpose that connects from a base. When I source even materials or furniture or anything, like, because you know, you design the space, like normally what happens is I will work with a developer that's making a building. And so they hand me 4 walls, like the daycare, for example. Let's take the if you guys are watching this, I'm pretty sure you've seen my daycare project, but they give me 4 walls, and then I have to design the entire building. That's why it's called interior architecture and not designer, because you're actually constructing the entire building from the inside. You only get 4 walls. So the inside has no walls, no plumbing, no lighting, no ceiling, like not even HVAC systems. I have to put that all in there, right? So I have to think about every single element, and that is also why I design everything from scratch, and it takes so much longer than a lot of design projects that I know, because it's not just saying, you know what, let's choose this material because it's cheap and we did this in the last project. I always think, okay, how can we make this the most unique material that coincides with developing this incredibly strong concept? And I think the strongest concepts are the most minimal and simple. So when you're walking through a building, you're not seeing a bunch of different materials. You're not seeing, what's it called? Like themes, you know, like the difference between a theme and a concept. A lot of people always ask me, how do you feel about, I can't even think of themes right now because I don't like them. They're not design. They're more like for, I guess, people that are decorators. I have no idea. But, you know, people say, oh, I want a coastal theme, or I want a barn house theme, or I can't think of any right now, like mid-century modern theme or eclectic theme. And it's like, but themes are not timeless. Themes are not there to focus on materials, you're just gonna end up picking things that stand out all by themselves, and then when you put them all together in a room, it's complete chaos and nothing's purposeful. So like I was trying to, sorry, I keep like going in circles, but what I was trying to say is like, this kind of personality set me up probably to be a thoughtful designer, because what I wanted to say is that I don't think everyone should go into design just because you might think that it's fun or exciting, or maybe a lot of people actually like miss or confuse it for decorating, and it's so far from that I don't suggest people to go into it at all, because I mean, even the design program that I did, my bachelor's degree was incredibly difficult, and it was night and day, 24/7 working on projects, and we only had projects. We did not have like theory classes really. We had studio classes, so we would work for like months on one project, and we had presentations every single week, and I would sleep at school constantly. I would work all night until 9 a.m. and I would just stay in class, and I was still always running out of time. And that is the reality of architecture as well. Like, we all know that architecture is like this, but interior architecture is the same in terms of time, effort, energy, and purpose. And I think that's the biggest difference also, and some people might not agree with this, but I think it's very accurate that like even architects and engineers are definitely more like structural and practical, and interior architects have to be both. So we have to be structural, practical, functional, and very aesthetic. We have to think so deep into aesthetics and materials, not just for function, but for beauty as well. I take this example as well, like when I was just talking about the daycare that you guys have all seen. The concrete floor I designed it by myself. Like, it's not like I chose a company. I was like, I like this color. I was like, this is the picture. I did research for months on the exact feeling I wanted to evoke in the floor when you walk in. And I had to choose the exact concrete. Then I had to choose colors to pour into it. Then I chose the exact pieces of glass, kind of like terrazzo, but not really. I had to choose the pieces of glass and sand to mix in. So I was there for months, like picking all these different glass samples and colors and concrete textures and everything so that they could pour it in. And if you pour that in and you don't like it, well, you just lost like 200 grand, right? So there's so much thought behind every little detail that I think this, because of my mediator personality, and because I'm so obsessed with fine details and aesthetics and making everything so perfect until the very end, I think that if you are also a mediator and you are also wanting to pursue something creative, something meaningful, something deeper, I think it's the perfect career path. And I think, like I said, I can't imagine doing anything else now. I really can't. I wanted to be a musician my whole life, and the more I look at it now, I'm like, I can just like play music at home and write songs, and maybe, who knows, maybe one day I'll write songs and put them on Spotify and my friends and family will listen to it. Big deal. At least I get it out of my system. But before, I was so obsessed with passion and beauty and all these things that I thought I had to do every single hobby that I had to pursue everything. And now I love that, because I'm so scatterbrained and have been my entire life in everything. Like I said, doing things last minute, handing things in last minute. When I was a kid, I used to go to bed at like 3 or 4 a.m. and wake up at 6 for school. Like, I didn't even sleep the whole time I was a kid. I always had sleep problems. And I was scared to go to sleep because I had basically FOMO, I guess. I was scared that when I was sleeping, things that were gonna happen that would be a good time that I would miss out on. Like, I was scared that people out my door, my parents, my family, were gonna have fun or have a good conversation that the next day I was gonna miss, and I was gonna be like, I should have been there, why was I sleeping? And now I'm realizing you have to sleep. Like, this is the center of everything, especially, like I was saying, I have like a lot of chronic illness that started from when I was a kid. That's probably why, like, you should probably get some sleep. And so all of these things connected to me being so distracted for years about what career path I'm gonna choose. And now, like, what I was gonna say is design is so perfect for me because, like I said, if I became a decorator, which is so far from what I do, but I remember wanting to do that when I was like 13 or something. I was like, oh, I could probably decorate, but you know, I want to do something more meaningful. If I just did something like that, I would feel chaotic. I would feel all over the place because I didn't have that deeper meaning. I didn't feel that deeper connection if I just like decorated a room or something. And that's how I feel now when I'm designing a building from scratch and I'm doing every fine detail in, you know, drawing in AutoCAD, for example, and you create all these blueprints that the developers and the contractors are going to be building for you, and you get to see that process of every single, like I said, wall being built. And if you make one mistake, like you put a wall 5 centimeters off of where it's supposed to be, you end up costing your client money. And so there's a lot of responsibility there and liability, and I need that. I need structure. I need to send off 500 pages of architectural drawings that need to be built in order to also be able to work with my fantasy. So I get to create these beautiful concepts and beautiful environments, but they also have so much thought and structures to them that it's not just me like flying in the clouds all day, because I love doing that. But even as it says here, like, it's easy for me to daydream, but I need something to like ground me at the end of the day. So I always say that this is the perfect job for me, that I get to kind of like mix both, like function and aesthetics and beauty and all this stuff. And yeah, I just want to say, like, if you guys, because so many people ask me on my channel, like, do you think becoming an interior architect is the right thing for me? Is it the right path? I'm really scared to go into it. Just if everything I said so far, like, for the most part resonates with, you know, things that are making you feel excited, and you feel excited to experience how I experience things, then I think it's the perfect job for you, and I think you'll have an amazing time. I think if you want a deeper meaning and a deeper beauty and understanding for life, and you want to make people experience the world through your eyes, through beauty and function, and, like I said, a concept, like something greater than us, like, then I think it's perfect. That moment, and I always say this part too, I've had teachers at my school that were just like very by the book, you know, like you come into class, you do this, and that's it. And those are the kind of teachers I never really like learned from, like the ones that were just kind of like, you know, kind of like hard asses that I couldn't really connect with. But some of the teachers I had that talked about environment, and they talked about, what feeling do you feel when you walk into this door? What material is rubbing up on the bottom of your feet, of your shoes? What is that material making you feel? What is it making you remember? What is it making you connect to? Those are all important things for how to be a good designer. It's thoughtful in every sense that you can think of. And if that excites you, this is the perfect career path for you. And something creative in general, I would say. I think a lot of, like I said, this is probably part of my gut feeling, but I think I was talking about earlier, and I totally went on a rant, when I was trying to like move out of Canada my entire life, and then I ended up telling everyone, no, trust me, when I'm 18, I'm out, I'm leaving. And everyone was like, yeah, sure, everyone says that. Like, you're not gonna go study in Europe. It's just not gonna happen. And I knew, I was so obsessed that I think I manifested the whole thing, that as soon as like I turned, I think 18 or 19, I had like worked all these years, I saved all my money, I paid for my own school, like I paid for the flights, the rent, everything. And I remember thinking like, I can't do something creative because I'm not gonna make money from it. And that's always what I heard. So I was always going against things that I heard, even though they were terrifying. Because, I mean, you move across the world when you're 19 to go study in a place you've never lived. You don't know anything. You don't know anyone. If all fails, you lose all your money and you go back to square one, which to me was moving back to Edmonton, my city. And that was not a possibility in my head. I said, no, this is going to work whether you like it or not. And I am so happy that I pursued that creative endeavor, that I took a huge risk and a huge chance on something like that. Because like I said, everyone would always talk about how you need to do something that you know there's security in, right? Like, you know that engineers have security, or doctors or lawyers, or you know that there's consistency there because there are answers. You have answers to stuff. You don't create answers. And so that was always a big fear of mine, and I will never look back. I have never looked back at that because I know that I'm living through my authenticity, and I know that I could never do a job that I need answers, or sorry, that I have answers. There's no textbook that you can go and say like, okay, this is the exact concept that you can create for this project. It's like, no, it has to come all from up here, and it has to resonate with you, with your clients' money. Like, you have to make something bigger than us, bigger than yourself. And that is the beauty that I find in my everyday work. And I just realized I've been talking for a really long time, you guys. It says it's been an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm so sorry that it's taken this long. But again, I really applaud you, and I really appreciate you if you waited this whole time up until now. Like, again, if you're here for the whole time, please let me know in the comments. But what I do promise you is I wanted to mention this too. I'm going to take my social media like way more seriously, and just start actually, instead of waiting for things to happen and waiting things to be perfect in order, I'm just gonna go all in and share my daily stuff, like my apartment series right now. I have so many things coming. I have like a lot of partnerships that I've worked on that are actually like here, like in boxes, that I'm going to be filming and setting up. And I have a lot of editing that I'm going to be doing the next few weeks. I've already taken so many videos that are just like sitting in my phone. So I also wanted to share that part. But anyway, if you guys found me in general on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you found me, I'm like beyond grateful to have any kind of community, like of deeper thinkers, of people that feel something in my work, or even in like the music that I choose in my videos. Like, I'm so specific with that stuff that I'm like, no, I can't use a trending sound. It has to be a song that I am obsessed with and resonate with. Otherwise it's not authentic and it's not me, and I can't not be me. So for any of you that like connect with that, I can't tell you what it means to me, because my whole life I've been looking for people to share my view of the world through my eyes. And from when you're a kid, that can feel so isolating and you can feel so alone. And the fact that I even have like followers that like tell me every day, you've inspired me, you've made me feel this, you've made me excited about going into design, you've made me see my world differently. Even people that have been listening to my Spotify playlist, I'm like, oh my God, this makes me so happy, because we could be listening to the same song and feeling the same thing while we create, while we design, while we go on walks in the day. I don't know how to explain it, but I just have never had that in my life. And I never thought that I could get that from such a big audience. And I'm just really grateful, and I can't explain it. But Anyway, when I talk a lot, I get out of breath. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna end the tangent now. It's been a long time. Let me know what else you guys want to see. If you want like more YouTube videos or anything like that, I'm gonna post them like as I go instead of weekly. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you guys soon. Take care, and I love you. Thank you for being here. Bye.